everyone, I'm Max from AFM. Welcome to the Pilot Training Connect podcast, where we interview individuals from the pilot training industry to learn more about their organization and their views. Every week, we invite an industry leader to sit down with us, and this week, I have the great pleasure to be joined by Mark Delany, Chief Executive Officer at Ansett Aviation Training. Ansett Aviation Training is a global operator of full flight simulators. Welcome to the Pilot Training Connect podcast, Mark.
Thank you very much, Max. Nice to be with you.
Mark, can you give us an overview of Ansett Aviation's training's global operation and specifically what you do in terms of supporting the industry with pilot training activities?
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Max. So Ansett Aviation Training is a global operator. I'd like to say we're probably a global private operator in that we operate as an independent provider of simulator training for airlines across the globe from our training centres. We have training centres in Australia. We have 4 centres there. We have our centre in Taipei. We have the centre in Milan, and we're very proud to be opening an operation here in Dubai. We offer standard dry training support to airlines across all of those regions. We do a significant amount of wet training and type ratings also for airlines. We provide overflow training for airlines who've got their own simulators but require some overflow support. We house and maintain simulators on behalf of various airlines as well. So we have quite a broad offering, but all of it's tailored towards supporting great outcomes for airlines for either their wet training, their type ratings, or that recurrent training. So the pilots get the best experience they can and the highest quality training they can. So we're supporting them and being safe in their operations back with the airlines.
Fantastic. And it sounds like from your global footprint that you are of quite significant size. Can you give us an indication of the amount of full flight simulators that you have across the world and also the different types that you are operating within your training centers?
Yeah, sure. So we're currently operating 30 full flight simulators across our global footprint. And we are slightly unique in that, in particularly Australia, we have some of the older simulators, so we supporting regional aviation in our region. So we have a very diverse set. We go from King Air 200s through Embraers, Metros, on up through 737NG, the 73 Max, the A320s. We house special, house and maintain special simulators for some mission critical operations around the world. We house and maintain an A380 simulator in our Melbourne facility. We're probably one of the only private operators in the world that does that. So we have a very broad range of simulators and a very broad skill set that allows us to maintain those simulators at a very high level, high availability, very high quality for the training for all of our crews.
Fantastic. I know that Ansett is also maybe the simulator training center with the longest history. Can you just share a bit more about the Ansett history and how it has developed over the years?
Yes, look, Ansett's a famous brand in the aviation market worldwide. So Ansett Airline in Australia was one of the iconic airlines. So our brand is 85 years old, which we take very seriously. I always say tread lightly on history and treasure the brand while you have the honour to look after it. So we certainly are very proud of our brand. When the Ansett Airline ceased to exist in 2002, some smart people realised that the simulator training centre at Tullamarine in Melbourne it's an agnostic strategic asset that other airlines would require support from. So they privatised it, and it's gone through a couple of sets of different hands in the preceding 20 odd years since then. Some of the staff we have, some of our technicians, for example, in the company have been with Ansett for over 35 years. So we have a very deep and broad experience set across our organisation and a very proud brand with the Ansett brand.
Fantastic. I think, having studied the global full flight simulator training infrastructure, a lot of airlines and a lot of people within this industry, when they hear of Ansett, they immediately think of the airline, the Australian airline, and they immediately think of okay, this is this full flight simulator training center group located in Australia, heavily focused on the Australian market. But through discussion with you and really through researching Ansett, I know that Ansett actually is a brand with a global kind of focus. Can you just share with everyone a rough indication of the number of airlines that you're training, and then also kind of how you look at the global focus or the global operations of Ansett, the Ansett group?
Look, sure, Max. We have in excess of 100 contracts, commercial contracts, if you like, with different airlines and aviation organisations around the world. So it's a very broad set. We will be dealing with small King Air operators through to the Tier 1 airlines in the regions, it's our USP really, in that we're not tied to a particular OEM from the sim. We have CAE sims, True Sims, we've got all of the sims. So we have great relationships across all the OEMs. And that gives all of our customers confidence. They can come to us knowing that they're going to get they're going to be well looked after by a team with a very strong band, a strong set of values, and a strong experience set across whatever simulators either they want to train on with us, or if they want to bring their simulator to us to house and maintain, which we do for a number of airlines.
Yeah, and especially. I think your global operations in Taiwan and in Italy and now in the UAE as well are also very strategically placed to kind of cater to those regional markets. Can you give an indication in those different training centers what type of equipment do you have?
Yeah, sure. So in our Taiwan Simulator Centre, we have the ATR 72-600. And A320, a highly sort of modified A320. Then in the Milan Centre, we have the 737NG, the A320. We have the Avro, the old Queen of the Skies, the Avro. And we also, very unique, we have the only CL415 full flight simulator in the world. So the CL415 is the fixed wing scooper firefighting aircraft that we see a lot of, particularly during the fire season. They do a fantastic job, those crews out there, and we're very proud to be providing with that full flight simulator high fidelity training in their off seasons when they come and train with us in Milan. In Dubai, we hope to have 4 simulators here within the next 18 months, and we're starting off with the ATR 72-600, which it was powered up a couple of days ago, and we'll be ready for training in the second week in September.
Fantastic, absolutely fantastic. I know for the entire industry, the past couple of years were first quite difficult due to travel restrictions, due to low demand for pilot training, and then started being quite difficult due to the high demand for pilot training and the lack of global capacity on specific types of aircraft. Can you tell us a bit more of how has this last year kind of developed at Ansett, and any announcements that you've made over the past 6 to 12 months?
Yeah, look, it's been a very interesting last 12 months. We've been very busy with supporting all of our customers with the rebound post-COVID. There's no doubt it's been an extraordinary period. None of us could accurately forecast what that demand profile was going to look like over the last 12 months. So it's been a kind of sprint to keep up in a lot of areas. The Ansett's philosophy is we don't seek transactional business. We really look for strategic and long-term partnerships with our customers. We believe that's how everyone secures the best value out of all relationships, and it ensures the focus remains on quality of training, not transactional wins. So through our Oceania region, we have very deep and long relationships. That's seen us buy some simulators that the airlines may not have wanted to operate themselves any further. We won a contract with Buerger to run their simulator centre down in Australia, which further deepens that long-term relationship strategy we have as opposed to the transactional. We work really hard. It's as most people listening to this will understand, you can take a lot of transactional and fill your sim up that way, and certainly there's a place for that to support parts of the industry. But for that long term, really high quality training outcomes and customer-centric approach, which is something we're very proud of. We work very hard on those strategic type relationships and outcomes to better support the industry. We believe that's how we get win-win-win scenarios for us and our customers, and more importantly, for all the pilots that are training in the simulators.
Yeah, I think this is something when we initially studied the industry and when we at AFM came across the Ansett brand name, we know that it resonated with a lot of people for long-term partnerships between operators and Ansett itself. I think one of the things which really excites me and everyone at AFM, being headquartered here in Dubai in the UAE, is your announcement not too long ago of, establishing a new simulator training center here in the United Arab Emirates, and the deployment of an ATR 72-600 simulator here, the first one in the wider region. I think this was a very bold move, but also a very strategic move, looking at the different operators across the wider region and the lack of training infrastructure that they're having. So congratulations for that announcement and for that new center. How do you view this new training location for Ansett as part of your global view of growth?
Yeah, it's a good question, Max. So firstly, a shout out to Mark Cameron, Dynamic Aviation Training, so we're co-locating in Mark's facility in Dubai South, an absolute world-class training centre Mark has here for more cabin crew training and more holistic total crew training. Truly a centre of excellence, and we're very proud that we've been able to move in here at Dynamic Training and provide some more of that those holistic training outcomes. We see for Ansett's global footprint through Australasia, Taiwan, and then up into Milan, there was a piece missing in the middle, with the connection for that, and to me, Dubai was a natural fit for that connection to connect our global footprint. It is very time zone friendly when you're living in Australia or Milan. You kind of got the extremes on the time zones, and Dubai really helps balance the practicalities of running a global business on such a friendly time zone. We also saw the demand when you've got, and I'm sorry if I get the statistics slightly wrong, but when you've got about half of the world's population within a 4-hour flight from one place, which is from Dubai, you realise it's a place to be from a global perspective. The growth in the region is spectacular. It's an exciting place to be around and to do business in, with a very positive growth mindset, including through COVID. The growth through COVID, through lots in this region is really impressive and to be congratulated. So we see Dubai as a natural link to join our global network. It allows us to leverage ourselves more as a global business and to take more advantage of the global footprint. There's a significant amount of talent available through the region, which is fantastic. And as I said, the proliferation of airlines within a 4-hour flight from Dubai is phenomenal, and that creates real opportunity to develop some really good partnerships here and build a nice long-term sustainable business for Ansett in the region.
Yeah, it's absolutely fantastic that you made this announcement and this move so quickly coming out of the challenging last few years. You mentioned a couple of very interesting points. So the proliferation of new airlines within this wider region here. When you look at your global operations and the different operators that you're working with, what are some of the key trends that you're seeing which are developing in the industry? So one of the things that I'm really focused on a lot with AFM and our research team at the moment is that the demand for a flight deck crew is so high that it's really starting to impact a wide section of the industry, with the major airlines kind of pulling in people from the turboprop operators and from the low-cost carriers, and they then themselves kind of, activating their own aggressive pilot recruitment pipelines, and also, hiring instructors where as possible. So one of the key things that we're looking at is this flow of pilots to match this demand, and the effect that it has on the global training industry's capability to train by having not enough instructors. How do you view that development?
Yeah, it's a great question, Max, and it's a question that anyone in the aviation pilot training industry, be it supply side or demand side, is doing a lot of contemplative thinking about. Again, we've taken a very strategic view of it at Ansett. I've been actively running a program on it since October last year. Again, we're looking to make sure we have an enduring strategic plan with those long-term relationships to support some key airlines through what's going to be a very challenging time, to ensure they've got the pilots required to deliver their individual airline strategic plans and operational outcomes. There's no doubt that the industry is under stress worldwide. The number of instructors is very, very low. I know some of my alumni from an airline I flew with, they all took the offer of a kind of furlough package going into COVID, and that's a whole cohort of very senior instructors, and then they're not coming back, and then the low flying rates throughout COVID meant that next couple of years of TRIs and potential TREs that would have been developed underneath those guys all didn't get developed as well. So it's left we're all aware, a very big gap in the industry, and the demand to hire pilots means that even in the GA world now around the world, we're seeing some of those instructors being, actively recruited by the airlines. So my perspective is that people need to have very deliberate and strategic plans in place to secure their pilot pipelines over the next 5 to 10 years. I don't think there's an option to sit back and think it'll be okay. I think people have to be very proactive, and typically in our industry, people are proactive. That's the nature of aviation, and I think this is one of those times. It's if I look at it from a supply chain perspective, the supply chains to support aviation have been damaged, and it's going to take a long time for them to be repaired and to build some resilience, and that we can have confidence with our strategic plans around supply chains. And in many ways, I look at the pilots as suppliers. It's a supply chain issue as well now, with severe restrictions and severe choke points and risk areas and that we have to work our way through as an industry to ensure that we can maintain a very high standard of training, to ensure we have safe skies out there, which is ultimately what must be always our primary focus.
Yeah. You make an excellent point. One of the key things that we're currently studying at AFM is the high attrition rates throughout the industry, be it at different airlines or be it a different training organization, which really, what we find currently right now is that organizations, the level of attrition is heavily influenced, of course, by the demand, but we're also seeing that organizations which have put heavy emphasis on employee engagement, employee programs, are just able to grow so much better due to not having this constant churn of talent and retraining. How is it at Ansett? Because I know just before we started this interview, you told me about, how some of your employees or some of your team members or staff have been with you an interesting amount of time, I would say. So it would be great to hear more about, how you at Ansett are tackling this specific issue for the demand for talent and how you retain that talent at Ansett.
Yeah, look, the challenge is to find really good talent in many professions. It's quite profound now. There's no doubt about it. It's changed post-COVID. Expectations of employees have changed. The recruiting process has changed, and it's kind of a voyage of discovery every time we go, okay, we need to recruit this person. What we've also seen is the junior technician talent come under threat from external industries, nothing to do with simulators, for the boom in the technical world as well, because we're exposed in various countries around the world, and Taiwan, for example, with the semiconductor industry. It's a very hot market for anyone who's got that electrical or avionics talent. So, yeah, there are challenges for all of us. We're not immune to the post-COVID talent challenge to find and recruit, and then most importantly, retain. It's very difficult for the airlines who might be churning at 30 to 40%, some airlines, of that talent through, and that's really hard. How do you to forecast and plan, and if you have that supply chain view, how do you know you're going to have the pilots you need to deliver that strategic outcome for the airline and to support the growth? It's difficult. We ensure we have exposure in the turboprop field we've got multiple turboprop simulators, because that end of the market is going to be under, I think, a lot of strain as people are. For a young pilot in the industry, what a fantastic time to know that they can move very quickly through, the right and left seat in the jet world and have a fantastic career, and good on them. And I'm excited for the guys and girls coming through who are going to enjoy that opportunity. What it does, but for all the airlines, it creates enormous pressure around that churn. I know in particular, it's one of the challenges is having to bring TRIs offline to do simulator training, and the complexities that brings around rostering, because of the pure demand for those TRIs and TREs to be online doing line training and so forth. So yeah, those things all combine to make it a very difficult. It's a very dynamic environment, very reactive environment we've seen over the last 12 months. And as I said earlier, I think the pathway to success is very deliberate, strategic forward planning here to secure pilot pipelines and know that the growth is sustainable, and most importantly, safe. We must never see our standards drop from a safety perspective in the industry, and it's something Ansett's really passionate about now.
I fully agree with you. What about your own team, your own personnel? What initiatives have you put in place to ensure that your own team is there to support this growth, stays with you? What is your current vision and mission? Because I know just before we started this interview, you told me some of your simulator technicians have been with the company for
over 35 years.
Yeah, over 35 years. So I think it would be really good, because I know there's quite a few different training organizations which are listening as well, and which are battling this constant churn of personnel, to hear more about how you are tackling that retention initiative of your own team.
Yeah, it's a great question, Max. We've done a huge amount of work over the last 12 months on employee engagement. We've brought in external consultants who work to build high performance teams and behaviours that support those teams, and work through a whole new values, mission, vision process for the team. I think it's important you focus on what you can control and don't spend all your time focusing on the stuff you can't control. So to me, I try to stay very clearly focused on what we can influence in the business and how we can help influence to look after our staff. Without our staff, we haven't got a business. When you're in the simulator game, you've got a lot of really nice flash-looking simulators sitting in simulator halls, but they're not doing anything unless your technicians are there and they've got the right parts, because your logistics teams are working right, and all of those things sequence together to get that quality outcome we need for all of our customers, and again, so that when they leave and get in the planes, we've got safe skies out there. So employee engagement is a big focus. Expanding the team, as we all get busier, you can quickly outrun your executive and your leadership teams in any company. So we've been deliberately expanding the team as we go, and we've got a very supportive board who have been very extremely supportive around that, to ensure we have the right talent and the right resources, so that we have both some resilience within and also we all are set for that growth to support, because our customers are growing all with us, and we need to grow with our customers and support them. That's what we're here for. So there's been a lot of focus on our employees. The culture in the business, to me, is the number one focus. Certainly as a CEO and our executive team, our focus on culture is primary. It comes before focus on the P&L and results. Because without the right culture and without that workforce who are engaged, you're never going to get there. You're never going to have that high performance team or maximise your outcome that we should deliver for the business.
And with this agile, dynamic team with growth aspirations, I have to ask, where do you see Ansett Aviation Training in 2 to 3 years' time?
Booming, Max, doing very, very well. So we will continue to grow with our customers. We will continue to assess the opportunities to support the industry in the regions that we're active within, and we are looking at some, alternative offerings around our core capabilities, and we're obviously always looking at new regions to potentially expand into, like we've just done now coming to Dubai to support this region. So we are very methodical and structured in our planning. However, we realise that you need a certain level of agility in an active market, and we try to ensure that we do stay at pace with our customers. It's very important, I believe, our customers can have confidence in our ability to keep moving with them and supporting them.
That's really fantastic to hear, because one of the key things that we're now closely watching at AFM, we see that there's huge demand for full flight simulator capacity on specific types. We also see more and more that operators, because they need that capacity today, are looking for aggressively for solutions. The market for second-hand simulators is very interesting at the moment, and at the same time, a number of different players, a number of different operators are looking at ways to increase capacity, and in a lot of different cases also quite significantly. But by the sounds of it, it sounds like Ansett is very much focused on growing with its customers, being in constant contact with its customers and matching their growth, rather than going ahead and announcing new simulator training centers and ordering a bunch of full flight simulators. Is that the correct statement?
We don't have a build it and they will come mindset. That's not part of our strategy. Certainly part of our strategy is to work in our core we've got such a wonderful group of customers across the globe. We have a very clear customer centric focus in the business to work with them and make sure we're providing the solutions they ask for and they require, and that we've got the capacity and the capital to do that for them. But we will always look for opportunities to expand as well. We have to stay curious as to what's going on. There's so many changes over the last 12 months. I mean, anyone who was leading a strategic planning process for their teams 18 months ago, I can almost guarantee whatever got written down hasn't happened. It's been so dynamic, it's changed. We've set a very clear strategic direction last year, and that focuses on our core, but also make sure that we are agile and ready to take advantage of emerging opportunities. And we always stay curious about new technologies, because our customers expect us to, and our customers are going to go down those pathways, and we want to be with them. There's new technologies coming everywhere with eVTOL, with the drones, with VR and so forth. And we are actively, always actively looking at what that might mean for our business and what that might mean to enhance our support with our customers as well.
Fantastic. Really, I can't thank you enough for sharing your insights with us today, Mark. If anyone wants to learn more about Ansett Aviation Training, please check out their website. It is ansettaviationtraining.com, or connect with Mark on LinkedIn. Mark, I know you're quite active on LinkedIn as well, so it is a great place to connect with you, correct?
It's a good place to connect with me. So yes, a fantastic platform. And I have to say thank you to you, Max, the AFM, and the insights that we gain and the confidence we gain from being able to read your research and benefit from that is very, very important for the industry. So thank you very much.
Thank you.